As we step into this moment called right here, right now, as we shut down all the other activities that we may be involved in, as we step away from multitasking and find ourselves present to this serendipitous moment, it's not by chance or coincidence that you've tuned in this morning to our service, and we welcome you. Or maybe it's some later date, some evening late in the midnight hour. We welcome you also. Welcome to the Center for Divine Love. Good morning. I'm Greg Stanton, also known as Asur. I'm the spiritual facilitator for the St. Louis New Thought Center, and I am always pleasantly pleased and happy to be here to present to this wonderful group of individuals that make up this vast audience, and those of you who are in TV land, video land, virtual land, wherever you may be today. This morning I want to take some time and express to the topic of expressing gratitude as a spiritual practice, one letter at a time. Yes, I have an acrostic that I want to share with you all regarding that 9-letter word, gratitude. But before I go into that this morning, when we talk about gratitude, in most cases we are only grateful when good things happen. We find it easy to show gratitude when things are favorable. But when you take on the spiritual practice of gratitude, in spite of what is going on outside of you, your attitude never shifts, never changes. So I want to introduce and inspire you as my audience this morning to adopt these 9 powerful practices of gratitude, each corresponding to a letter in the word gratitude, known as an acrostic. And it demonstrates how these practices, if we choose to take them on, will transform our lives. We know that gratitude is a powerful tool that can change our lives one small practice at a time. Today we'll explore this. We'll explore the 9 specific practices that you can take on. So you don't have to wait until the end of the year when we come to holidays like Thanksgiving. You don't have to wait till your ship come in or your numbers hit or you hit a lick or something of that sort. But to be able to express gratitude in the midst of things that have changed your attitude. You know, you have things that go on throughout your day that shifts your attitude. And we want to be mindful that when we are going through life, that we should not allow the need for things to be the way we want them to be, desire them to be, in order for us to be all right. So throughout this presentation, I'm going to delve into the 9 letters that make up this particular word, gratitude, and the spiritual practice. How many of you here this morning actually have something that you're grateful for? Excellent. How many here this morning went through something this week? And in the midst of going through that thing, you couldn't find nothing in that thing, of that thing, about that thing that could present as to be grateful. But there's a scripture that tells us that in whatever state you're in, to find contentment. Don't become complacent, but to be content in what I'm going through. Now, many times we want to expedite the what, but we never take time to deal with the why of what you're going through. And so when you're going through something, don't be rushing just to get through it, but to grow through it. Amen? And if we learn to grow through the things we go through, we don't have to revisit them. We don't have do-overs. Life gives us all do-overs. Life does not pass you on just because you're old, just because you had another birthday. If during this birth year you did not exercise the laws, the principles, the practices to get through what you was going through, guess what? The next year, the heat is turned up and you'll have the same situation. So let's take 9 simple letters to come away with a spiritual practice. The first one is the letter G. The letter G basically means to give generously. That's a good way to start. Because the law of karma is you get what you give. So if we learn to give what we desire to get, we'll always be ahead of the curve. This first practice, to give generously, gratitude flourishes in an open heart. And generosity is a powerful way to cultivate that openness. When we give, whether it's our time, attention, or our resources, we're not just benefiting others, we're enriching our own lives. It's like we're paying it ahead. Man, we were created to be givers and not just to be receivers. That's why man was created both male and female. The male is the giver and the woman is the receiver. But when they operate as a oneness, then we see the entire cycle of giving and receiving. A good example of giving generously is think about the small acts of kindness, like helping a neighbor or volunteering your time. Did you do any of that this week? These simple gestures can significantly shift our perspective. Helping others has a way of helping us see that things could potentially be worse for us than they really are. The letter R is the second principle and practice I encourage you to take on. R represents recognizing your blessings and receive with a grateful heart. Sometimes my mom used to say, crying with a loaf of bread under my arms. Just got through eating one meal and asking what's the next meal. Sometimes we want to be present to the right here, the right now of the blessing we're currently receiving. And we want to be open to receiving it with an open heart. Recognizing blessings and receiving with a grateful heart it's easy to overlook the small, everyday blessings that surround us. The serendipitous acts, like you found a dime on the street, or you may have found $1 that made you holler. But you found something, and you in the moment you may be grateful, but to take that in through the day to show that what was somebody else's trash became your treasure. So we want to recognize the blessings that we get throughout the day. The A of these 9 letters represents appreciation and your attitude. Having appreciation for whatever you're going through, whatever you're growing through, knowing this, that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and who are called according to its purpose. So you have appreciation for whatever you're going through, whatever you're growing through. So this third practice, appreciate the present of right now. Stay present to the right now of life. Too often we find ourselves caught up in the worries about our past anxieties, things that are not even going on right now, but we bring them into the present of right now. We are so caught up into wanting to get out of where we are that we're trying to go somewhere, so we're over into tomorrow. Gratitude invites us to focus on the here and the now, appreciating the present of this moment. You ever been on a date with someone or been somewhere? Maybe you were a child and you were performing, or maybe you was an athlete or you was a pianist, and people came to see you, but you look out in the audience and they're texting or they're talking. They're not present to your presentation. And so we do this throughout the week. When we encounter people, we don't say how you're doing. And when people say how you're doing, you'll say I'm fine and you keep going. But let's pump the brakes. Let's slow it down. And let's appreciate each moment of life. So one of the practices is just appreciation. Appreciation for what you have. Appreciation for when you look in your closet, not what you're going to buy, but what you have already purchased, what has already been given to you, what you can repurpose. So just being appreciative. Part of being appreciative of the moment, of the present, is to be mindful. Now, mindfulness is a powerful tool, a powerful practice that we need to take on. In the midst of your tumultuous day, you want to pump the brakes. You want to take a break. Halfway through your day, lunch hour, don't just feed your stomach, but feed your mind. Restore your soul. Get quiet. Close your eyes. Take a big breath in and take a trip in your mind. You might be surprised what you might find. In my lunch hour, I go to exotic places. Within that 30 minutes, I will close my eyes and I will envision myself where I desire to be. And ultimately, before it's over, I'm there. So you got to understand that if you could bring yourself present to the right here, the right now of time, you'll find that you will be more successful. You'll find you have more peace. You won't be so anxious. The next word, or the next letter, is the fourth letter, which is the T. And this is an easy one. It's called thankful. Thankful for others. thankful of others. A lot of times we can be thankful for what we've got, what we've received, but know this, that source God does nothing in the earth except he does it through an individual. So we have to learn to be thankful for the individuals who are in your life. I thank God, source, all the time for the Center for Divine Love. Because when I came to St. Louis, I did not have a community to fellowship with, and somehow I ended up here. And been here ever since, going strong, about 5 years. I enjoy this place. And anytime I could be here, I'm here. So being thankful for the others, not just for what they do for you, but other people, when they show up in your life, they give you a reflection of how good God is to you. Because except for the grace of God, that actually could be you. And then sometimes looking at someone who's appear to be doing better than you, maybe it sparks that, hey, God is no respecter of persons. What he's done for that person, he'll do for me. All you got to do is have a conversation with that person. Don't hate, appreciate. Ask them, how did they get to where they are? What principles, what practices did they put into place? People don't just end up where they are just by happenstance. Somebody might say, well, I got where I am today because I changed the way I think. I had a bunch of stinking thinking and nasty thinking things were showing up in my life. I did something simple that's changed what I thought. And the things I thought changed the things that I was experiencing. So you want to be thankful for the expression that you get when you engage in other people. The I is one of my favorite words, is intentional. Most people don't live intentional and deliberately. If you want to really be thankful, learn to be intentional, to intentionally inspire positivity in others. So that's my fifth letter is to intentionally inspire positivity in others. I'm a purveyor of positivity. I'm a purveyor of possibility. No matter what my clients may be going through, I help them to see through to the other side. Whatever is showing up in your life right now as a contrast that you don't enjoy, it's offering you the opportunity to create the opposite. Sometimes we do not know what we want in life. Well, all you have to do is look at what you don't want in life. You want more of you've been getting, or you want the opposite? If you want the opposite of what you've been getting, then you focus on the opposite. It's not for you to know how the opposite is going to manifest, but just to know that it will manifest. The word says source gives you the desires of your heart. So your heart, wherever you turn your head to, wherever you turn your heart to, those are the things you're going to get. If you're turning your head, your heart towards lack, sickness, disease, all the things that are showing up in your life, if that's you just keeping it real, then you keep getting real stuff. But if we learn how to live intentionally, inspiring others and inspiring ourselves inside of this conversation of positivity, our life will shift. So you want to start your day with a gratitude affirmation, a simple practice that can set a positive tone for your entire day. Every day, 365 days out of the year, I wake up with an affirmation. Sometimes that affirmation is as simple as thank you. See, an affirmation does not have to be this long, drawn-out statement, but an affirmation is something that's simple that hits you in your heart, not something that hits you in your head. If you have affirmations that's coming from your head, they don't move nothing. But if you have affirmations that's coming from your heart, they move the universe. Source responds to you. You remember the story about Jesus? That person who had that issue of blood, and how they wanted that situation to change, and they were intentional and deliberate, and they went and found Jesus. And when they found Jesus, they touched the hem of his garment, and the scripture tells us that virtue went out of him. And then it moved him. He turned around and said, who touched me? When you really speak to the universe from your heart, when you say thank you and mean it, people can feel it. When people do things to you, for you, say thank you. And sometimes people have done things to me, and I said thank you. It helped me understand that this is not where I need to be. This is the individual that doesn't have my highest and greatest good in mind. So sometimes you can say thank you to that person who is representing your enemy. But we want to stay inside of inspired possibility. The T, which is the sixth letter, the second T in gratitude, transform challenges. The sixth practice is the transformation that challenges bring. Life is full of challenges, contrasts, but with gratitude, it allows us to reframe these obstacles as opportunities. A setback is an opportunity for you to come back. Come on now. A setback can be a setup for you to rise up. And so how you reframe things, it's simple as that. I have had many things happen to me in my life, but I make it my business after I get out of that oh me, oh mine, that pity party, because sometimes that feel good, to sulk in that thing, to cry in that thing, to be oh me, oh mine, to be a victim. But then I'm realized that I'm fearfully and wonderfully made, that I'm called to be victorious. Then I shift and I say to myself, I begin to think on another level. And so we have to learn to transform ourselves in the midst of a challenge. Now, a challenge gives you the opportunity to see what you've mastered. A challenge gives you the opportunity also to master something that you hadn't mastered in the past. So with gratitude, you want to reframe all the obstacles as opportunities. Imagine facing a setback at work or in your personal life. Instead of seeing it as a failure, try viewing it with gratitude for the lesson it brings. Look at the word blessing. You see blessing? You can imagine the word blessing. For those who haven't learned how to spell it yet, it's B-L-E-S-S-I-N. Blessing. Inside of every blessing is a lesson. Oh, I forgot the G. I spell it like the hood. In the hood, we don't use the G. It's just a blessing. Okay, a $5 holler. It's a blessing without the G. But the word blessing is spelled B-L-E-S-S-I-N-G. For my camera person that don't think I know how to spell. But inside that word blessing, I like words are powerful. Besides blessing is lesson. Every blessing contains a lesson. And if you're not willing to get the blessing, you won't grab the lesson. That's important. Now, the seventh letter is the letter U. To understand everything. To understand the laws, the principles, the practice, to understand abundance. Next, we want to understand, I like to understand how abundance works. Because the number one reason marriages break up isn't infidelity, but it's the thing that usually leads to infidelity. It's money. Lack of money. Money isn't bad, but whenever you lack money, it's bad because you can think about doing some bad things to come up. So we have to understand abundance. You want to understand abundance. You want to understand prosperity. You want to understand the laws, the universal laws. So inside of gratitude, that you for me tells me that I should become familiar with the universal laws, whatever they may be, and have gratitude when I get the opportunity to express them. Focusing on what you have rather than what you lack. Focusing on being healthy in certain areas of your body versus focusing solely on the area of your body that you are feeling pain. This shifts an abundance mindset. It shifts from sickness and dis-ease to wholeness and health. You may not have all areas of your body where it's expression in the way you desire to, but don't get so caught up in the one area of your life where you got a knee issue or you got a back issue or you got a respiratory issue. You got all kinds of systems in your body. Find the systems that are working well and celebrate them. And celebrate that how Source is working in that system, Source will also work in the other systems. Then it promotes expectation. The D is develop a daily practice. When we talk about gratitude, we want to also talk about the D, developing daily practices. Be determined. Be deliberate to develop daily practices. That is, like a habit of gratitude, it needs to be nurtured daily, whether through journaling, meditation, affirmations. Consistently practicing gratitude ensures the benefits take root in our lives. Now, I'll give you an example of that. Like writing 3 things you're grateful about each morning. Or meditating on gratitude before you go to bed. This act can reinforce, it becomes a habit, making gratitude a natural part of who you are. That's my timer. Awesome. I'm a bad boy. So what we see here, gratitude has to be developed. And so you have to practice it, be determined. And no matter what you're going through, you're going to get through it. But be determined to express thankfulness in all that you go through. Now this E, the final letter that make up the word gratitude, and we're going to wrap it up here, it has to do with exceedingly abundantly above. That's one of my favorite scriptures, Ephesians. So the E in gratitude represents Ephesians 3:20. And in Ephesians 3:20 it says, source desires to do, or God desires to do, exceedingly abundantly above anything you can. How many people out there asking for something? Okay. How many people this morning woke up thinking about something? The word says, source desires. It desires to do exceedingly abundantly above anything that you can ask or think. And that right there makes me say, thank you. Matter of fact, it makes me say, yes. It's like you ever played a game of chance, roulette, and that number hit, or you get a hand that's the best hand in the house. You say yes. And so I wake up with a yes, knowing that source is my silent partner, that is working with me, not against me, that is desiring to do the exceedingly abundantly above anything that I could possibly ask. So what you want to learn to do is be thankful for what you have right now without constantly requesting more. You don't have to ask for it. Source knows what you had need of. When I was a kid, my mother knew I had to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My mama knew that I needed new school clothes. Mama knew it was best to my advantage to go off to college. Mama knew some things I didn't think I needed to know, but she knew in ahead. Your parent, if they know, how much more does God know what you have need of? Come on now. So in summary, we've explored the 9 powerful practices of gratitude: giving, recognizing, appreciating, thankfulness, inspiring, transformational, understanding the laws, determined, and last, exceeding expectations. By incorporating these 9 practices of gratitude into our lives, we can unlock the door to greater peace, greater joy, and abundance, transforming ordinary moments into extraordinary ones. And over the next 4 weeks, the next 3 weeks of this month, you're going to be encouraged, you're going to be sharpened in this area of gratitude. Our speakers are going to bring another vantage point, but it all is going to work together for you. So I would like to close with an affirming prayer. So right where you are, just take a big breath in and close your eyes. You're in a safe space. And I want to close with this affirming prayer. Divine source of all that is good and abundant, we give thanks for the gift of gratitude that flows through our lives. We affirm that as we embrace these practices and principles regarding gratitude, our hearts are open wider to the blessings that surround us each day, particularly this day. We recognize that giving generously, appreciating the present, and thanking others connects us to the endless stream of love and prosperity that the universe provides. We also are inspired to see every challenge as an opportunity for growth and to understand that abundance is our true nature and birthright. As we commit to developing a daily practice of gratitude, we exceed our own expectations, living in the awareness that all our needs are already met. We affirm that our lives are transformed by the power of gratitude, bringing us peace, joy, and fulfillment. So with our hearts full of thanks and thanksgiving, we release this prayer, knowing that it is already done, and so it is. Amen. And so it is. I thank you for your time this morning. And I'm going to ask you just to settle in now and just let this song by our brother Sam